So John, great to connect.
Good to be with you too.
Why don't you give us a little bit of your background?
So my career is kind of divided in two halves. One is I was at Bain Company early on, and then in Bain Capital really early on, and discovered I had a bug for starting companies, and so I started and scaled six companies from zero,
Mm.
and did that not in parallel but in serial, and then. And then through a strange set of circumstances, met Elon Musk about 5 years ago, and he was asking for somebody to be quote unquote his Sheryl Sandberg, and so he had asked Sheryl that question. She said, "I know a guy who's started businesses in automotive, in retail, and in manufacturing. It sounds like those three boxes are important to you. I'd like you to meet him." And so we met, and just totally hit it off. And so I was the president of Tesla. We grew it from 2 billion to 20 billion in revenue, and just a wild ride. And then was the COO of Lyft and took them public. And now returning back to my entrepreneurial roots after 5 years at scale.
That's great. What wonderful experiences. Having watched SpaceX over this last year.
Yeah, totally. Me too.
Yeah, it's just an amazing thing to watch. That's great. What a wonderful background. So tell us a little about DVX and what you're doing with the company.
Yeah, so it's basically a company that creates companies, and DV is for Delta V. It's a change in velocity, and what we want to do is take opportunities and really bend their velocity curve. And so as a company that creates companies, our structure is basically like a holding company, like a Berkshire Hathaway. We have people on our team. We have a team of researchers that researches really the stuffing out of an opportunity or an idea. That goes through several gates, and then we have a team of engineers that builds the prototype for the first product, and we get it out in the market and get feedback loops. Then we've got go-to-market people that make sure we really get our go-to-market and unit economics right. We've got a talent partner and financial folks to make sure that we're allocating capital correctly. But it's a team of people who I think kind of three things are true. One is we only work on our own ideas. Mm-hmm. And the second thing is that team is uniquely suited to do that because it's a team of world-class scalers and entrepreneurs. So across the team, I think we've created more than 24 companies, returned more than $20 billion of value, 9x to investors. So it's a really special team. And the third thing is we do that with a long-term view. So we actually have a long-term capital structure like a holding company. Mm-hmm. So we're not a venture fund, and we don't look like that structurally at all. But what we do is that enables us to have a long view of how we build these companies for durable, sustainable, long-term growth.
And one of the things that interests us was some of the areas, or will be around consumer, but consumer or other opportunities related to fintech. So maybe you can just speak a little bit to the fintech part of what you're doing.
Yeah, so we because we only work on our own ideas, we've kind of set up guardrails for ourselves so that we really only work in areas where we have experience. And so we've got some fairly deep experience in fintech and insurtech in particular, in insurance. And so we've got a couple of fintech companies in the development process. One is a very data-driven and very modern approach to cyber insurance, mm-hmm. And another is a fintech focused at the independent worker, for whom there aren't financial platforms or products that have really been designed, and so we're working on a holistic platform for them, and it's a very large addressable market. It's 10% of the U.S. workforce, so it's a very large and kind of unique opportunity.
That's great. Well, we're excited to see those developments happen and help wherever we can on those. That's good. Yeah. And the last question, we all are just sort of starting to work together recently in this arrangement where we've invested, but how has Vestigo been able to be helpful to you and the team?
I think in two ways. One is to be a thought partner around these fintech businesses as we flush these businesses out. And the second is like on our first company, which is already out of the chute and has got a product out in the market where we're working now on go-to-market. We literally were able to come to you at Vestigo and say, hey, could you use some of your data sets to help us get insights on target customers, behavior, pricing dynamics, et cetera. And so that's real tangible value that I think this partnership with Vestigo is bringing already.
Good. That's great. Well, we're here to help.
We like it.
Exactly. All right. That is great. All right. So here we go. So can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. My name's Tyler, CEO of Retirable, and I started my career at Northwestern Mutual with a really unique practice as a 23-year-old CFP focusing on retirement decumulation planning. So really great practice, loved working with clients and helping them figure out their decumulation strategies. On the side, I had a startup around crowdfunding college savings plans, which when all the fintech started popping up back in 2015, I reached out to them and eventually was offered a role at Policy Genius, where I joined as the 11th employee. There, I focused on building and scaling new verticals, starting with disability insurance, before moving to life insurance. And finally, I launched their home and auto insurance verticals before leaving with 300 employees last year.
Well, that's great experience. So why did you start this company? What was it about Retirable that excited you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really massive problem, the advice gap in America, where not everyone receives professional financial advice. And a lot of it's through the AUM model that we built in financial services. I saw this discrepancy firsthand at Northwestern Mutual. Even as a 23-year-old, I had $1 million AUM minimum. And on the personal side, my mom was a single public school teacher. And when it came time for her to retire, I saw her really struggle with who to trust and where to go to for advice. And I talked about this problem with my now co-founder, Ian Yamey, and we talked about what we built at Policy Genius and how we can now scale decision support around financial services and realize it's really the time to tackle this mass market problem.
That's great. So getting people to go to subscription model should be interesting, and then helping them find solutions that can bring income to you all make it work well.
Exactly.
Cool. And then what are your ambitions for the company?
Yeah. So we're building Retirable to be every retiree's home base for all things financial planning, regardless of their net worth. We believe that with the right products and advice, we can give everyone a 20% pay raise in retirement through decumulation strategies, adherence to a financial plan, and decision support around health, housing, and income.
That's great. So be all inclusive. That's cool.
That's right. Holistic.
There we go. And then this is the tough question, because we're still at the process here in August of finishing up our work together to invest in the company. But we have to ask you the question: has Vestigo been able to help you in any way as you've gotten started here?
Yeah. Mark really already has. We could not be more excited to work and learn from Mark and Vestigo. It was very clear to us early on, and even in our first conversation, that you and the team are the right partners to help us build this. You have a deep understanding of our consumers, empathy for them, and an understanding of their needs and how we can improve their lives. And then beyond that, we see Kogo as a competitive advantage for data-driven targeting, segmentation, and competitive intelligence. And finally, part of our distribution strategy is with financial institutions, and the deep industry relationships will be valuable.
That's great. Thank you for that.